Penn State goes to Iowa and suffers the wrath of the Iowa turnover machine. That is that defense. Penn State 20, Iowa 23. And even though Sean Clifford had thrown 2 awful interceptions in the first quarter, he was using his legs really well. Penn State was in full control of that football game.
What, 17-3 they went up?
17-3. And the way that Iowa's offense was playing, it felt like a massive lead. That Penn State defense, it was shutting down Iowa's running game. Spencer Petras wasn't exactly looking great, and it did not look like there was a chance in hell Iowa was going to be able to overcome that deficit. But then they put together a nice drive, little run, little pass, cut it to 17-10, and then Sean Clifford gets hurt. And it changed the football game. And I did not think that Taquan Roberson was awful by any means. He had some really awful field position to work with. Shout out to Iowa's punter. That guy knows what he's doing with the old lob wedge. But Penn State's defense, they forced field goals, and that they had avoided giving up the huge play. And then Iowa got him on the big play action shot, right? And that was the biggest play of the game. Nico Reganey, which sounds like he should be a famous gymnast or
what
something.
A name.
But he faked it, Ted. It would make you sad seeing how good that route was. Just he fakes running the over route. He kind of turns and runs it over out the other direction. The safety spins in a circle. Just a great ball by Petras. And that was the difference in the game. It was an awesome play, but again, the story of this game, Iowa's defense. I mean, they didn't get a ton from the offense, but they didn't need it, right? Forced 4 turnovers. They now have 20 forced turnovers in 6 games. It's absurd.
It's crazy. It's crazy in an era where turnovers just don't come like they used to. Gosh, that's crazy. And give Iowa credit. They had another great home field advantage. They had a great atmosphere, another great football game. Hated to see Clifford go down, but Petras is solid. But if the running game isn't going for Iowa, he becomes pretty ineffective. When he's put in predictable spots, he becomes ineffective. But hey, protection on the big play, that's that offensive line from Iowa doing the job there to hit the big play. But man, 4 turnovers to add to what they had 16 through 5 is just, it's ridiculous. Impressive.
Yeah, I guess the only negative thing from the turnover, did you see the Riley Moss kid? Apparently, it looked like he hurt his knee celebrating. That's what it looked like.
Oh no. Pulled a Grammatica.
I guess after the game, Kirk Ferentz was like, "Oh, we think it's a positive diagnosis for him," but I'm hoping he heard it during the play, but it looked a lot like he heard it celebrating. Definitely, unfortunate.
I hate that. That's brutal.
Yeah,
you've got it, and you do everything you can to try and play it off too. It's like, I got to make it to the next snap. I got to hide this and make it to the next snap somehow.
Yeah. One other thing in this game, if you were able to watch it on Fox, lots of ref hat cam in this game. And yeah, they just put a camera on the ref's hat. They went to it a couple times, and I'm not going to lie, didn't hate it. It was different. I was like, oh, that's different.
They've tried that in the NFL several different times and never really go back to it. If we're talking about cams, how about the pylon cam catching the shot of Mims' foot?
Oh,
how awesome was that?
I was so happy for Marvin Mims, Dallas kid, just making big plays in OU Texas. I like that guy, man.
Awesome.
Great interview. Okay, next game. Arkansas 51, Ole Miss 52. This game was like a drug for people that love offensive football. 1,287 yards of offense. And it came in a variety of ways, Mr. Lehman. long sustained drives, quick scoring drives, big, huge explosive plays in the run game, huge explosive plays in the passing game. KJ Jefferson was slinging it to Treylon Burks. And he was also Superman diving and juking dudes left and right to get in the end zone on a couple different runs. Matt Corral, he was throwing darts to Braylon Sanders. And he was also like a battering ram at the goal line, just like running through people to score touchdowns. I mean, it was insane. Arkansas ran for 350. Ole Miss ran for 324. Traylon Smith and Rocket Sanders for the Hogs, Snoop Connor and Henry Parrish for the Rebels. Ted, I'm pretty sure these guys are still running. I mean, there was no stopping them. As a defensive guy, you had to have loved this game. You had to have appreciated this game the way I did. But the thing that everyone's going to be talking about, Sam Pittman saying, hey, we're going for 2. We're going for the win. I loved the call. I didn't love the play call. Few too many options. I think there was an option to pitch it. There was an option to throw it. There was an option to run it. That's one too many options for me. That's a lot to process.
Yeah.
And they end up coming up short, lose by a point. But I agree with the call. But I'm assuming you enjoyed the game that had 14 touchdowns as much as I did.
I enjoyed the highlights of the game. I don't think I could sit there and enjoy watching it. Maybe I could. I don't know. If I've got no interest in it, like if I've got no vested interest in it, then I could probably enjoy a game like that. But I love the call to go for 2 there. I got no problem with it. He's trying to establish an attitude there, a mindset. I got no problem with him trying to take advantage of that, because who knows? You've obviously been able to move the ball, but if you got an opportunity to win the game and end it, let's go. So yeah, I loved the call, and I'm kind of with you on that. When you start to get too many options, you start to take away someone's athleticism, and they end up thinking instead of just reacting. So. Yeah, unfortunate for Arkansas, but nice win for Ole Miss. All right, you can have your popcorn now, I guess, right? Isn't that what Kiffin said?
Yeah, and also Ole Miss, they wore the blue jerseys with the blue helmets. It's a strong look.
Yeah, they look good. Look.
All right, last game, Georgia 34, Auburn 10, and it started off pretty solidly for Auburn, right? They had put together like a 17-play opening drive. We are like, all right, they kicked field goal. Maybe this can be interesting. And then it was over. Georgia's defense settled in and just, I don't know if this is too graphic of a description, Ted, but they strangled Auburn's offense, like strangled it to death. They couldn't run the ball, right? Tank Bigsby, Bo Nix, they couldn't run it at all. And Bo Nix he's just not the type of quarterback that is going to beat a team like Georgia, dropping back and throwing it 38 times. I mean, that's not what he does. But it did feel like Georgia getting that big goal line stop before the half gave them even more momentum. I wonder if Brian Harsin regrets that decision. Wonder if he wishes he would have just taken the points there. But Georgia ran it pretty well in this one with White and Milton, and our boy Stetson. I mean, Stetson Bennett he's efficient. He's efficient, and I'm not sure he's good enough to go win them a national championship, but he was good in this one. Man, he was letting it fly down the field. That was the most I've seen him push it down the field. He was pretty accurate with the deep ball, showed off the wheels at times. It'll be interesting to see what Kirby Smart does at quarterback moving forward, but that Georgia defense, they gave up 10 points, 10 on the road against the, decently talented team. And it almost feels like they didn't play very well. Like the standard they're being held to is crazy. Georgia is good.
They're good. I thought it looked like they were going to hold them to 3, and because they were allowing like 5.8, and then they shut out Arkansas, and it went down to like 4.4 or something. Nice.
Just muted to drink water and spilled it all over myself. The YouTube viewers will enjoy that one.
That's great. Yeah, they shut out Arkansas to take their points per game down to 4, and I was like, no way that they're going to hold someone to under their average of 4 I think it's 4.4 or something like that again. So I'm actually glad they didn't, and they gave up 10, but they're really good. And Stetson, and they don't need any unbelievable play at quarterback right now. They almost won the national championship with Fromm as a true freshman at quarterback, like never even throwing the football down the field. So it looks like they're going to try the same thing this year. And, you know, I don't know what JT Daniels his prognosis is going to be moving forward, but the formula for them is good right now. There's going to come a time where they're going to need some offense, but you know, maybe there's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could really derail this thing for them is some big injuries on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like a Jordan Davis, someone like that going down. Like that's the only thing, because that defense is, I mean, it is elite. They got talent everywhere. So we'll see. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, they're just going to waltz to a national championship. I don't think that. I don't think that with some of their limitations offensively, I think that, oh, it's going to be tough for them to win it all. But right now, with what we've seen up to this point, they look damn good. Damn good.
Yep.
My loser of the weekend, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oof.
They go to Kyle Field in College Station, Texas, and they get beat by the Texas A&M Aggies 41-38. They gave up 41 to an A&M offense that has struggled and struggled and struggled. I will say this. We poke a lot of fun at Texas A&M, and they deserve it most of the time. But you got to give them their credit here. They earned it. That was a really good win. It was a really competitive game. It felt like A&M was in control. Then Bama rips off 21 unanswered in the second half, and it seemed like Alabama was in full control then. But I got to give credit to Zach Calzada, man.
Yeah.
That dude showed some onions on some of those throws late. Even though he looked like he blew his knee out at one point, it was like,
that looked horrible.
Oh, to be young.
I didn't think there's any
ligaments.
chance he was coming back in, right?
No, they like carried him off the field.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna like put him in a wheelchair to get him off the field.
I watched it whenever it happened. I was like, oh man, that sucks. And I was like, well, they made a nice run at it. I hate that.
They're showing the walk on, like he's trying to find a football, like start warming up, and he can like barely get a hold on it. He's so nervous. He's like trying to throw pass. I was like, oh my gosh.
And but I walked out and did something else and came back in the room, and he was back in the game. I was like, wait, what is he doing? They let him back in the game? That's impressive.
Yeah, but Anaya Smith rocking the blue cleats, blue gloves. He stood out, and you can do that stuff. I don't know if there was a point. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look into if there was any meaning behind the blue cleats and blue gloves. If there is, I don't know it, but maybe there is. Maybe if there is, great job, Anais. But if you make plays like that, you can wear that type of stuff. He was huge for them. The game-winning field goal, though, man, that thing started due left and then took I don't know what pushed it back right the way it did, but it was like as it left and went into the air, I think we all just were like, oh, and for whatever reason, hard right turn. Just a great win for A&M, but Bama's that they got some issues
Yeah.
defensively.
Yeah, they did not look good. I thought Bryce Young actually looked good considering some of the pressure he was dealing with up front. But yeah, defensively, and they've been a little bit banged up. It's the first time we've seen Bama show up and like not have answers. Like typically they can answer everything athletically. Like even if someone's got some schemes on them, picking up some yards or getting them out of position, they can usually out athlete you. And for whatever reason, their luck has finally run out. And I guess that means Oklahoma's got the longest winning streak in the country.
Yay. It did. It felt like A&M's defense, especially that defensive line, right? Marvin Leal, that group, they got after Bama up front a little bit. You mentioned Bryce Young was under a lot of pressure, but they still had 522 yards of offense and lost the game. I mean, I don't think we need to hit the panic button by any means for Bama, but it doesn't look like they have a dominant offensive line group like we've seen them have the last couple of years. And that defensive line for them, I mean, there's some bad ball. And I mean, Zach Calzada, they hit him a little bit, but you look at the stat sheet, and I double checked, triple checked. I was like, 0 sacks for Alabama?
Yeah.
0? I mean, it's hard to believe.
Yep. I thought it was awesome when they stormed the field. That was great. Did you see that player or the fan walking around with one of the players' helmets on? That was great.
Oh, there's going to be some fines sent out this week, boy. Dude, it was an insane weekend of college football.
Insane. What's one of the best weekends of college football that I can remember?
Oh, yeah, definitely.